Yeah, morning, Luna.
All right. Okay, we have 1 more minute before we start our session. Yeah. All right, it's 9 o'clock already. So I think we shall start our sessions, as I've been informed that we should start at 9. So for those friends that what we call, they will proceed and join us later. Yeah. For those who will joining afterward. Yeah. So we're going to proceed with our sessions today. So I would like to thank everyone that you can make your time to attend today workshop, especially for our postgrad students. And even though we offered this to our postgrad student, but somehow we also welcome our colleague, okay, to join and participate in for this it's not that too much into the workshop. Actually, it's a sharing sessions. Okay, actually, I've been what we call approached by our postgrad academic sections from FPEP to share my experience actually since last year, but I just accept the offer for this year and towards the end of this year. So thank you so much, Dr. Arif Kamisan and his team for the invitations. So as for today, I think you guys received the invitations on regards to the I'm going to do and to share about the mixed method research actually. Yeah, so with that, I start to share my slides. Yeah, so yeah, or before that, okay, I can see I just received the numbers of participants this morning. There will be around 34 of the participants will join us today, but somehow we also still open from the other colleague. And as for today, in the meantime that he also have some other meeting as well, right? So we have Mr. Kamaru here, we have other colleague, we have Mary, Miss Mary, and we have the others friend as well who join us today. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start the slides for today. All right. So I'm looking at the slides. All right. Yeah. Let's open this first. Screen one. Okay. Okay, can you see the slide here? Okay. Again, you can see the slides. All right, so as for today, we're going to, I will make some sharing sessions on regards to the mixed method design. So this is basically the approach that I used during my PhD study. So yeah, so today we're going to share about this. And then, all right, before that, okay, I would like to introduce myself. Okay, hi, I'm Juliana. So I think some of you might know me, right? So I joined UMS since 2010, and my area is management studies, and I specialize in hospitality management. And during my study time, during I did my PhD, is, as I mentioned earlier, mixed methods is one of my approach lah. So when I did my PhD, and I believe this sharing session you still have, when you thinking to to what kinds of method that you want to you utilize during for your thesis, then I hope this can give some idea or some insights to some of you who just enrolled to your study, perhaps in your master or in your PhD. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, when I embarked into my PhD study, actually I do not have any idea what is a mixed method actually. So when I came, when we have first meeting with my supervisory team, yeah, because my first supervisor, her background is a mixed method study. It is a mixed methods approach. So she have a very and she have the expertise in this mixed methods approach. So my second supervisor, he have he's the quantitative person. So when we they decided, so I need to go to mixed methods punya approach. So by that time, so I seems like, oh, how should I do it? Because this is this method seems like very new to me, because I've not done any approach during my during my working time, when I did my when I did my some consultation ataupun my research with my friends. So we hardly ataupun we never did we never utilized mixed methods, so I didn't have any experience on that. So during my studies, so I've been into many mixed methods classes. I've been into many classes at the workshops in order for me. This is being advised by my supervisor to enhance ataupun to improve I punya it's not to get to know what is mixed method actually. So, and I believe so some of you should carry on ataupun you should do in your studies. So perhaps you can give a considerations for mixed method. Yeah. All right. So hi, this is me. All right. Okay. So then I shall start with our first our session then. So please you can interrupt me if you have any questions. This is more into just sharing sessions. Actually, I just, as you know, information, I just graduated last year, so I didn't have so much experience in terms of the real experiments, many experiences in mixed method. But what I did is those that I experienced during my as a PGR student, as a postgrad students before. So I hope this can give some insight to you. All right. So shall we first give you some introductions about when is actually this research phases started. So as we know that first paradigm is a quantitative paradigm. So it is basically started in the 19th century. Yeah. So the first paradigm in the second one is a qualitative research paradigm. The qualitative, it started since 19 to 1950. It started in the era, all right. And for the mixed method research paradigm, it first introduced by Jig on the 1979, and it's more established in 2000. Right, it seems like mixed method is just a new approach begin in 2000, in the era of 2000. Yeah, so this is it's around 20 years. Okay, the mixed method, so it's still new in the our research field, right? So right. And then mixed method research is basically defined as a research in which the investigator collect and analyze data, integrate the finding. Okay, they use both finding, right, for the qualitative and quantitative, and in order to derive, they do those qualitative and quantitative approach. Okay, they analyze it, right? They combine. So this is what we call mixed method. It's combinations of qualitative approach and also quantitative approach. When someone asks you, okay, what is mixed method? Then you know how to answer them. Okay, it's a combinations of two methods, which is a qualitative and quantitative, right? So this is what we call mixed method. Yeah. All right. So basically, okay, people have there's a many terms being used to call mixed method. Okay, some people call it integrating methods, some people call it synthesis, okay, some people call it quantitative and qualitative methods, okay, and some call it multi-methods, okay, some call it mixed method, and just recently, right, people call it mixed method. So at the end of the day, until today, it's being called mixed method. So now, out of all the term being used actually is a combination of both two methods. Yeah. Okay. Basically, most of this discipline they start utilize atau ataupun in their study. So basically mixed method in the literature review, so most mixed method will utilize in education field, right? In order to interview and collect the survey data, right? And then the other field is in terms of psychology and nursing, sociology, health science, management and organizations, library informations, and program evaluations. So this is basically the discipline that mixed method start. Okay, since 2000, okay, whereby it start expand in the year of 2000, and then most of the research, okay, directly, okay, focusing on mixed method. Okay, these disciplines, okay, in our research area, they're more focusing on these kinds of approach, okay, in their methodology, right? Okay, and then most of the literature, okay, when they start, that I go through, okay, most of the literatures, they reveal that, okay, the mixed methods basically is getting, they feel that, okay, as mixed method is, they can utilize in their approach ataupun in their study, they can use it. And it's also increased numbers of researchers begin to employ the mixed method research. Okay, most literature reveal that most of the researchers nowadays, okay, they start to employ mixed method research. Okay, this also happened when I start my study before, when I start my PhD journey. Okay, I can see that most of my friends in our doctoral college, okay, most of my friends, which is in management field and business field, okay, most of our supervisor, they asking us to apply mixed method in our thesis. So most of my time in 2016, okay, most of my colleagues, okay, I think it's my majority of us, we are using mixed method approach in our in our study. So we can see that, okay, even those supervisor pun, they are asking ataupun they approach in your study. So you can see, and it's the scenario is also happen in the research being done, okay, whereby they found out that, okay, most of the researchers started to embark into mixed method research. And then it also have the potential to offer more robust research. Okay, you can, the research being conducted, as we know that you are conducting, if you're utilizing mixed method, right, you are conducting with two approach. Okay, you start with either you start with quantitative or you start with qualitative for the first phase, and then the next phase is the other way around. So it means that you are looking into the in every perspective, right? You're not using only one single method. So it means that you can have some robust research. Okay, you can have some rigorous punya finding, you can have some more enrich, punya data will be rich in this kinds of things. So you can come out with many finding ataupun discussion on it, right? And then also encouraged to clearly outline the reason for using mixed method. Okay, you can see when you read through the mixed method research in your literature, you can see how this researcher, okay, they discuss about okay, why they are doing mixed method. Okay, you can see, okay, this is perhaps can help you in your discussion chapter later, especially in your methodology, whereby you can discuss, okay, why you go to this approach in your study, why you think mixed methods research is much more suitable, okay, for your study as compared to the quantitative and qualitative. So you can have more discussion on this. in your methodology discussion nanti, right? And then some of the literature also reveal that, more complex and require researcher to be knowledgeable, about the design, and then even though it's a complex, even though it's very both approach, you feel it's much more difficult rather than single method. But somehow, when you go and read and see some discussion ataupun some literature about, then you get more knowledge on it. More knowledge how to do the mixed method research. So this is basically what literature found, in mixed method. And then most of these mixed method research, has become a valid alternative actually to either quantitative and qualitative research, and it's becoming very appealing to the researcher. Researcher tend to more light ataupun more favor ataupun in doing this mixed method research nowadays. This is according to the literature. And then mixed method research, basically they complement each other, all right? They complement, whereby they offer a rich insight, a very huge database ataupun informations, and result in more questions of interest, for future study. And then the objective will combine, this reduce the weakness, especially to reduce the weaknesses, in between both quantitative and qualitative design. So it means that it's complement each other, right? For this mixed method strategy, this is being revealed by the literature, right? Okay, next one. Okay, the literature also revealed that, the mixed method, basically the strength of mixed method, according to Cherryholmes, Jameson and Carrot, basically the mixed method, the strength of mixed method is that they point out, that words photo, right? Narrative can be used to add meaning to the numbers, while number can add precisions to words photo and narrative. Means that if you're using this mixed method, it will give you some understanding in regards of the words, the meaning, the interpretations of the words, the photo and narrative. This is basically what we call the strengths of mixed method. And the other way around as well, if you're using some enrich into your data. I have one friend this is she did his dia punya PhD topic. She's using the Instagram actually. She's using the Instagram whereby she interpret the meanings of the photo, right? And how many likes, the likes, the numbers of like, she transformed into the descriptive, means that into the quantitative punya data. And for the picture, she will analyze the picture in the Instagram, right? So what's the interpretations of the photo? What's the meanings of the words that been posted with the photo? So this is a very interesting actually. So when I saw my friend when she did this in her PhD study, it seems like it's very interesting for me because she's exploring. She's exploring the meanings of the another strength of mixed method is they handle a wide range of research questions because the researcher is not limited to one research design. Sorry, we have an announcement in my house area. Sorry, we have it somewhere. We have the announcement from KKM in my housing area. Right, sorry for that. All right, so for the next, the strengths that have been reviewed one research design. So means that if the mixed method research ni, they can deal with many types of questions, research questions. So they can cater to those questions rather than one single method. Yeah, and then it's also present more robust conclusions. Okay, they can present more more critical discussion in you punya in every chapter. Okay, and also you punya conclusions. Okay, when you have this mixed method, means that you have many data, you have many finding that you can do ataupun write you punya discussion, and you can conclude with a more robust punya discussion in your conclusions, right? And then it also can enhance the validity through triangulations process. Okay, you can through the qualitative punya data, you can enhance the validity. Okay, through the triangulation. You see, okay, from the triangulation itself, you boleh tengok, okay, what's the emerging theme, okay, derived. Then you can cross validate quantitative data. Means that you are not tied to into one single approach. Okay, you can double check even your data with two approaches. Okay, in order to make a confirmations, right? And then the mixed method also being known can give an insight, okay, and understanding that might be missed, okay, when only a single research design is used. Okay, it can give you more understanding. Okay, when you, as I mentioned earlier, and as we know that as earlier kita punya discussions, okay, this both this mixed method, they will give you both finding, whether it's from the qualitative finding, whether it's from the qualitative finding. So they will give you more insight, okay, about the situations, about the scenario ataupun about the issue that you are studying on. So then so that's why the literature reveal that, okay, they will give more insight and understanding. And then it also increase the capability to generalize the result. More comparable punya understanding, okay, instead of you only using the qualitative study, right, you can use the quantitative to generalize your punya result. Okay, you will utilize two approaches, okay, to derive your punya finding. So this is being revealed by the literature. So, okay, the strength of mixed method research. Okay, all right, so now we go, so what is actually is a mixed method research? Okay, what's this mixed method research? Okay, you know that what you have identified ataupun you've been informed that, okay, the literature review saying this is the strength, okay, as being taught by a literature review. So this is the finding ataupun this is why, okay, the researcher been using this mixed method research. Okay, so now, okay, we want to I would like to share with you, so what is actually a mixed method research. Okay, this is to give some understanding, okay, to all of you, so what is this mixed method research. Okay, the understanding of mixed method research. Okay, as we know that everyone, perhaps those who are still still looking for your methods, perhaps you can boleh what we call look for what is the most suitable method for all of you nanti, right? So, and then for what is mixed methods research? Okay, basically as Johnson, Wuji and Tan 2007, they informed that ataupun they reveal, okay, mixed method research actually is both collections of qualitative, okay, and quantitative data in response to the research questions or hypotheses. Okay, you will be combined to qualitative ataupun qualitative you punya approach basic. Perhaps you were using interview, and then you using the survey instrument. Okay, you will use these two data ataupun two approach in order to derive you punya finding or you punya study. Okay, this is what is mixed methods, and a part of it, okay, you do the data collections, okay, both. So you analyze both form of the data, right? You start with you key in you punya quantitative data in the SPSS, then for the qualitative you key in ataupun into the in vivo applications. So then you analyze the result, okay? Then you get the finding, you get the result, right? You analyze both data. right? And then procedure for both qualitative and quantitative data collections and analysis need to be conducted rigorously. So you need to really thoroughly to analyze both data atau to do data collections. You need to very give a very particular, okay, give some focus on it, especially you need to have an adequate sampling. You need to make sure you have enough sample, right, in order to conduct this mixed method approach, right? And then you need to have a source of information where you can get this informations ataupun where you can get those to make sure you punya data analysis step is appropriate. Okay, kalau SPS, if you are using SPSS, so need to make sure, okay, you punya step is you being recorded down ataupun you jot it down. Okay, what is you punya step? And then when you go into the qualitative, you go to en vivo. Okay, what's the step that you utilize? So what's the imaging team, right? This kinds of thing, right? And then two forms of data are integrated in the design analysis through the merging data, connecting the data, or embedding the data. Okay, and then you both of data, as I mentioned, you do the analysis. You combine, you do each of the data analysis. Then you are integrating. Okay, then you look for your punya data. Okay, what's being reviewed from your result to do once you're done with the data analysis. Right, procedure are incorporated into distinct mixed method design that also include the timing of data collections, okay, concurrent or sequential, as well as emphasize equal for each database. So you need to make sure, right? So mixed method research, this one we go for. Okay, parallelly ataupun sequential means that you start with qualitative data, then you go for the next second phase is you punya quantitative data. So this is what we call sequential. Kalau you pergi concurrently means that you bergerak seiring, you are parallelly, right, bergandingan, bergerak in your data collection, right? So this is what we call. And then procedure can also be informed by philosophical worldview or theory. So for mixed method, it depends also your punya research philosophical paradigm, right? Nanti we go through what is a philosophical paradigm for mixed method research. Yeah. All right, so in practical level, okay, basically mixed method research can provide you with more sophisticated, complex approach to research that appeal to those on the forefront of new research procedure, right? So this, as we know, that as I mentioned, mixed method research, they just embark ataupun they just started in the era of 2000. So when you have some issue ataupun the issue of UMS is already being emerged ataupun dah is already emerged ataupun popular. So in other way, in one single approach, and then you can test it again, okay, with the new ataupun with this mixed method approach in order to see, okay, what you can find more, okay, using this mixed method research. All right, if you are using previously they are using only one single method, they're using quantitative, okay, those numerical ataupun those figure in the quantitative showing this number, showing this significant value in this kinds of thing. Then when utilizing this mixed methods research approach atau you using this, you conduct with another level of, you start with the interview, you start already with the quantitative, then the next phase is the qualitative, you start the interview, okay, interview with your respondent to ask dia punya insight about this issue, then you can get the another finding of pluralistically ataupun in terms of verbally. Okay, this can integrate with these with the quantitative data. Okay, what's the meanings of this p value, or what's the meaning of this significant value? Okay, why this is not significant? So this can be interpreted using the qualitative punya approach. Yeah, so it also can be an ideal approach if the researcher has access to both quantitative and qualitative data. So for the mixed method research, it will be ideal, atau it will be advantageous. It will give you advantage if you can access to both data, right? If you considering to do you punya mixed method, okay, in your study, so you need to consider whether you can have this assessed or not, okay, by using this both method, okay, this both approach for mixed method. Yeah. Right. So, and then in the procedural level, in terms of procedure punya level, okay, you are comparing perspective. Okay, as mentioned just now, you do you have one respondent. Okay, you have your respondent. You conduct the quantitative, you conduct the qualitative approach, then you make a comparison. Yeah, so this is in the procedure level, what they said is you can compare those results from the quantitative aspect point of view, then the qualitative point of view, right? And then it's explain the quantitative result with qualitative follow-up data collections analysis. So this is what we explained just now. Okay, when you have the quantitative result, then you follow up it with qualitative punya interview ataupun data collection. Okay, you see what's the interpretation ataupun what are the meaning, okay, out of the quantitative result. Okay, why it becomes significant? Why the p-value is below than 0.05? So what's the indicator, right? Kalau if you're using this using the SPSF, you will see. But when you go to qualitative result or qualitative data collection, they will give you more explanation, or they will give you more insight. Okay, what are the interpretations of the significant value, right? Then the next one, okay, developing better measurement instrument by first collecting and analyzing qualitative data, then administer the instrument to as a sample, right? Basically, if you if you are the one want to develop one instrument, okay, you punya, let's say for you punya PhD, you said I would like to have ataupun my novelty is I want to develop one instrument to measure this. I want to develop an instrument to measure this. So mixed method research approach is an approach that will give you some kinds of novelty approach for you punya study. Okay, dulu. Right? You will start with you punya qualitative, you start with your interview, you come up with all the variables, you come up with the questions, then you analyze it, you you analyze, you tengok what's the emerging theme, okay, those theme you develop into variable, and then you use those variable, okay, you develop those variable, then you conduct the interview. You conduct the survey. Okay, you go with this variable, you make what the scale, and then you send for the data survey. You punya survey. You make an instrument and collect it as a survey to you punya sample. So this will be a mixed method ni. They will give you can develop you punya instrument. Yeah, this is one of the in terms of dia punya ones of the, it's kinds of one you punya novelty lah. If you are conduct you punya, if you punya intentions in your objective, you want to conduct ataupun you want to develop a model, you want to develop an instrument. Yeah, and then understanding as a more complete understanding of changes needed for marginalized group through the combinations of qualitative and quantitative data. So you can give more understanding, right? You can derive more understanding on a particular issue ataupun on a particular finding. Yeah. And then you have a better understanding the needs for an impact of an interventions program through collecting both quantitative and qualitative data over time. So you will give more understanding. Yeah. So in the procedure, you can, okay, once you say, okay, seems like it's not enough, then you try, you collect it again. You start collecting it again. So then when you start collecting it again, so you will give you more insight. Yeah, will give you more understanding about particular topic ataupun issue, yeah, ataupun particular matter, you punya context of study. Right. So are we good? Seems like, yeah, everyone is good.
Good.
Yeah, okay, good. Right. So if you have any questions ataupun if you have any want to ask, so we just make it, it's not that formal. This session is basically a sharing sessions actually. So this is from my reading, from my understanding and what I have been practiced in my study. So what's the apa ni mixed method lah, right? So you can interrupt ataupun you can ask me questions. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so now we go into the philosophical paradigm. So basically for mixed method research, okay, basically we are using this for mixed method people, okay, their research paradigm ataupun the philosophical paradigm is a pragmatic, okay. The pragmatic is basically, okay, it's out of action, situation and consequence rather than antecedent condition. So it means that they have, this pragmatic people ataupun this pragmatic punya worldview, okay, they look things, okay, dia tak static, okay, they see thing ataupun they view things not will be ataupun there are there more explanations, okay, about those particular issue ataupun those particular matters. Okay, they will not think that, okay, this figure, okay, showing this result. No, they will see ataupun they will expand ataupun explore what's the interpretations ataupun the meaning of this particular situation, right? They will dig about the information ataupun they explore, okay, about the particular issue, right? There is a concern with applications that work and solutions to a problem. Okay, instead of focusing on the method, the researcher emphasize the research problem and use all approaches available to understand the problem. Okay, they will use, okay, more approach, okay, in order for them to get to know what's the issue actually. Okay, they were not using, as I mentioned atau as we being discussed ataupun share just now, okay, the p value is not determined, the significant value is not the end of the result, okay, for more beyonds, okay, beyonds of the explanation. They will look for the more explanations behind the finding ataupun the result they have. Yeah, so and according to Morgan, Patton, and Tashikori and Tedley, okay, this is basically those people that we will cite in our methodological, in our method chapter. Okay, so these people basically we will cite. Okay, most people. Okay, most students they will cite these people in their method. Okay, they convey that it's important for focusing on attentions on the research problem in social science research and then using pluralistic approach to derive knowledge about the problem, right? They will use the qualitative to derive more knowledge. Okay, they will use the interview data ataupun they will use the qualitative data to get the understanding about the particular issue, right? This is what pragmatic people view, all right? And then pragmatic people ataupun pragmatic worldview, okay, they do not commit to any one system philosophy reality, right? They will not commit to one system of philosophy. Okay, they try to look they try to dig ataupun they try to explore, okay, until they find the answer. Yeah, basically the individual researcher have a freedom of choice. Okay, they can choose it. Okay, what's their dia orang punya stand. Okay, and then they do not see the world as an absolute unity. Okay, they see the world in angle, pelbagai sudut, okay, many different angle, right? Truth is what work at the time. So basically for pragmatic people, okay, that issue, okay, can work at a particular time. It's depend on the situation. That's not fixed, right? So perhaps in this pandemic situations, the current pandemic situation is being is capable to be used this kinds of method. I mean, is explaining, okay, this year when there's no pandemic. So might be, okay, what we found today ataupun you punya finding that you derive from mixed method might not be applied in the previous year, okay, because it's work at that particular time only, right? The issue, the scenario is work according to that particular current situation. Yeah. And then the researcher looks to what and how to research based on intended consequences, where they want to go with it. Okay, pragmatists agree that research always occurs in social, historical, political, and the other contexts. Okay, it's not only in the social science, but in the other discipline as well, right? Pragmatists have belief in an external world independent on the minds as well as the lodge in the mind. Okay, they believe it's not that only you set in the mind, but you need to see what happened around the world. Yeah, and it's also opened the door to multiple methods, okay, different worldview and different assumption, as well as different form of data collections and analysis. Okay, this is what a pragmatic philosophy static one. Okay, they have when they got some when they see some issue, they will take, okay, there might be some explanation of this, there might be some arguments, discussion on this particular thing. Yeah, they will not accept one result. Okay, they will try to get another approach to confirm ataupun to derive a finding, to get more understanding on each. So that's why we call this mixed method approach. They complement the quantitative and qualitative approach together. Yeah. All right. So basically, mixed method theory that they use, okay, what's mixed method? The theory that basically use is may include the theory of deductively. In quantitative theory, testing and validity, or using it inductively in the emerging qualitative theory of pattern. So basically this mixed method, they're basically using a social science framework. Kalau social theory that being used in the mixed method is most of the mixed method they are using social science theory. Okay, basically such as the theory in social science, perhaps for example, is the leadership theory. This is from the literature that I read through, right? So most is from the leadership theory, the economic theory, and then political science theory, the marketing theory, behavior change, adoptions and diffusions theory. So as for my study before, the theory that I use to complement ataupun to connect my topic ataupun my study is the diffusions of innovation theory, right? Diffusions of innovation theory that I use, okay, to connect ataupun to bind this mixed method approach in my context. Yeah, so this is basically, I'm using the social science theory before, and then somehow, okay, the mixed method also can adopt ataupun can apply transformative punya theory, dia applicable ataupun to use in the context of this is basically used in the health science punya perspective. Okay, this health science punya perspective, you're using this transformative theory to study on the community health, okay, in the large aspect, okay, in the study of marginalized group, okay, when they might appear in the world. So they will use it as the transformative framework lah. And then both of these forms have emerged in the mixed method literature over the past 5 to 10 years ago, right? So this theory that we use, okay, already been emerged in this mixed method since the past 10 years ago, right? So the theory that they use, right? You can apply, it's according to you punya context of study. What are the suitable theory ataupun social science? So I do believe kalau business and management economic people, okay, basically they will use a social science punya framework ataupun social science punya theory. So it's you right? You try to connect this theory in your write-up. Okay, basically this theory need to be presented in your literature review, okay, as a conceptual model ataupun a theory that help to explain what you want to seek atau what you want to find in your context of study. Yeah, so this one. So this why kalau basically in the mixed method punya theory, it makes a use, okay, before when I applying this mixed method in my in my thesis kan, so I need to open up one more extra chapter. Yeah, one more extra chapter in order to connect this theory and the approach. Yeah, means that I have two literature chapter. Okay, one is more into theory punya part. Okay, in my chapter 3. My chapter 3 is my theory punya part. Okay, whereby this is how I use the macam mana I punya format in my PhD thesis before. Yeah. So if you need to know how you need to integrate this theory dengan you punya approach. Yeah. Then at the end of that particular chapter, you can see macam mana how is it developed, you punya framework, you punya conceptual framework to develop. Yeah. Alright. Then we go into mixed method research questions and hypotheses, right? A strong mixed method study should contain the qualitative questions, the quantitative questions or hypotheses, and a mixed method questions. So this configuration is necessary because mixed method does not rely exclusively on either qualitative or quantitative research on both form of inquiry. And both qualitative and quantitative research questions need to advance in some mixed method study in order to narrow and focus the purpose statement. So for the mixed method research questions ataupun hypothesis, you punya research question, hypothesis, you need to make sure you punya soalan, your questions, you need to comprise those methods. Yeah, if you start with a quantitative first, so you need to have the quantitative punya research question. Then when you have the qualitative in the second phase ataupun in the first phase, you need to have this research question that involve the qualitative punya approach. Ataupun you can use a mixed method questions. Okay, we going to go through detail how to develop these research questions for mixed method and also for the qualitative ataupun quantitative after this. Yeah. And some attention should be given to the other research questions and hypotheses. Okay, why you need to give the attentions to these types of topic? Okay, because according to this, okay, you punya gerak kerja ataupun you punya operations, okay, in method, okay, you need to focus on this in order to derive with your finding at the end of the day. To derive is according to you punya research question and you punya hypothesis, right? Okay, some people ataupun some will ask, is it a must for mixed method to have a research hypothesis? Okay, is it a must for a mixed method to have research question? Okay, as far as I know ataupun I punya from my reading, and then perhaps some might be nanti if you go encounter with this kinds of ataupun soalan we went through your reading kan. Okay, as far as I concerned, okay, for mixed method research, you don't have to have two. Okay, you don't have, it's not necessary you need to have research question ataupun it's not necessary you need to have hypothesis. Okay, you can have either one ataupun you can have two of them together as well. It depends how you write you punya structure. Yeah, so for this two of approach. Yeah, so and then it should directly address the mixing of quantitative qualitative strand of the research. This is an innovative form of question. Questions. Then after this we will go to how to form the research question ataupun research hypothesis for this mixed method study, right? Now we go to this. All right. So, and for the quantitative and the qualitative approach, if you are comfortable, okay, to write in this way ataupun this kinds of format, it depends on you how you want. If you want to have a single phase, in the mixed method, you want to have a single phase. Okay, in your methodology chapter, you want to explain first phase, you want to do this, second phase, you want to do this, and make sure in your first chapter, okay, when you write you punya research question and when you write in your punya hypothesis, so you also need to write according to the phase. Okay, first phase, what is you punya what is your research question ataupun research hypothesis, so this kind of thing. So in structured dia punya his his format, okay, in order to see ataupun in order to people can see, okay, actually what he is doing, okay. In the first phase of quantitative study, okay, this is how he wrote ataupun he write on the his hypothesis, okay. Means that he do not come up with the exact they start with the hypothesis, okay, for the quantitative study, okay. For example, this one, it was hypothesized that there would be no significant difference between students in the middle school and those in the junior high in attitude towards science as a school subject. Okay, so this is the first hypothesis that he wrote. And then the second hypothesis that he wrote is that it was also hypothesized that there would be no significant difference between students in the middle school and those in the junior high in achievement in science. So this is how he wrote the in terms of hypothesis punya style. Okay, this is how he wrote it. Okay, when it go into the second phase of the qualitative study, okay, this is he started with the quantitative study first, right? And then for the second phase, he proceed with the qualitative study. Okay, in the qualitative study, this is how he wrote the research questions, right? Okay, what differences currently exist between the middle school instructional strategy and the junior high instructional strategy at this school in transitions. Okay, this is the qualitative ataupun research question that are showing that, okay, this study is a mixed method study. Okay, and then the second question is, how has this transitions period impacted science attitude and achievement of your students? How do teachers feel about this change process? So you can see in the second phase of the study, ataupun he want to identify, okay, the attitude and achievement of the student in that particular school. Okay, a part of it, instead of that, he also want to see, okay, what are the teacher punya feelings, okay, toward the changes, the change in the process in the school. So this is how the qualitative punya approach connect, okay, with the first approach, with the first phase, okay, the quantitative study. So make sure when you write you punya ataupun when you develop you punya research question, right, nanti ataupun when you do you punya write up seems like this, okay, you need to make sure, okay, you punya research you punya hypothesis ataupun you punya research objective, you need to be you need to be explain it atau it's not the explain, you need to have more further exploration in your punya qualitative issue is questions in the you punya research question in you punya qualitative study. So you can have these kinds of method. Okay, you can start with first phase. Okay, what approach? Okay, whether is you can start with the qualitative ataupun you can start with the quantitative ataupun vice versa. Yeah, for this mixed method research question and hypothesis. Right. And then if you are comfortable with to combine the mixed method questions, you by all means you can use it as well. Okay, instead of you make it a first phase and second phase, then you can also considering this, okay, means that you combine you punya questions, okay, research questions. Okay, then it can be seen more more clearer. Okay, this is a mixed method approach. Okay, when you develop the questions. Okay, when you develop your research question. Okay, so there are 5 ataupun there are 4 if I'm not mistaken. There are 5. Okay, the mixed method questions can be read ataupun can be wrote in a way that can be write ataupun wrote in a way that convey the methods or procedure in the study. Okay, in mixed method questions you can emphasize on, okay, what are the methods that you want to portray ataupun you want to show in your research question. Yeah, for example, Right. Does the qualitative data help explain the result from the initial quantitative phase of the study? Right. And also you can do it like this. How do the interview with teachers, the principal and university consultant, help to explain any quantitative difference in achievement for middle school and junior high school? So you can see, okay, you can see in this first, in the first example, okay, how do the interview, okay, interview is the method, yeah, interview teacher, principal, and university consultant is you punya respondent, is your respondent, okay, and then to explain any quantitative difference in achievement of middle school and junior high student. So means that you already conducted a quantitative approach in the first phase. Yeah, first phase you already conducted you punya quantitative. You already perhaps you maybe use the maybe this fellow, okay, this fellow they already started first phase is in quantitative. Start with the survey instrument. Okay, they give the survey instrument to the teacher, to the principal, to the university consultant. Then they're following up, okay, they proceed to the next stage with the interview, okay, because they want to derive the finding, okay, in order to explain, okay, the differences in achievement for middle school and junior high school student, right? You can write you punya mixed method questions according to method or procedure in your punya context of study, right? That was the first, that is the first one. Then when we go to the second one, convey the content of the study. Okay, you can write, okay, with the content of your study. For example, okay, does the theme of social support help to explain why some students become bullies in school? Okay, does the theme social support help to explain why some students become bullies in the school? Okay, the content of the study, right? And then the second example is that how do the theme mentions by the teacher help to explain why middle school children score lower than the junior high student. So you can see you put your content here. Okay, the first content that you want to emphasize is why some students become bullies in school. Okay, this is the content you put your content is you want to see, okay, what's the factor influence the student ataupun influence the student to become the bully in the school. Okay, you highlight you punya content. Okay, when people read through you punya research question, okay, the bully, how the students become, what influence the student to become the bully. Okay, ataupun and then you using this social support, okay, social support as a variable to explain the student to explain the scenario in the school. And for the example, how the determination by teacher help to explain the school is called this is you want to see the score among the student. Okay, how do the teams mentioned by the teacher, okay, how do the teams have this already been developed, okay, this variable already being developed by teacher in order to explain how the student junior high and middle school children and lower junior schools, they have differentiation in their punya score, right? So you can write it either using content as well. All right, first is you can highlight using your method atau procedure. Second is you punya content, right? And the third one, okay, you can method. Okay, for example, first example, how does the qualitative interview data on student bullying further explain why social support as measured quantitatively tend to discourage bullying as measured on a bullying scale? So you can see, right? You can see how this fella can come up, they combine method and content into the punya mixed method question, right? They start with the methods, okay, the qualitative interview, right? Content student bullying, right? And social support, explain why social support as measured quantitatively already been measured in the first phase, which is the quantitative approach, okay, tend to discuss measure on bullying scale. Okay, this is how they combine it. Okay, and then for the second example, Okay, to what extent, in what way do a qualitative interview with student and faculty member serve to contribute to a more comprehensive enhanced understanding of predicting integrative mixed method analysis. So you can see, okay, how they highlighting to what extent and in what way do qualitative interview, okay, with student and faculty member, right? And then to be more comprehensive understanding predicting between the score, okay, and the student academic performance. You can see, okay, how they combine method and content. Okay, in the first, you will see how this method you can write in terms, you can highlight in your method. Second, you can highlight in your content, and the third, you can you can highlight both, okay, methods and content, right, for the mixed method. Okay, sorry, it's only okay. Sorry. So there's a three approach, okay, ataupun there are three way that you can write you punya mixed method punya questions, right? Okay, so far so good. Okay, am I too fast? Okay juga. Okay, seems like everyone.
So far so good.
Okay, thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask, yeah? Right. Perhaps if I can't answer, I hope some of my colleagues here that attend to this session also can give some input ataupun some idea, especially for our postgrad students lah. If you have some question that you want to ask in order to strengthen your punya method, yeah. Okay. Next one. All right. So then we know about, okay, what is the mixed method actually. We know what's the strength of the mixed method. We know how to construct you punya research question ataupun you punya hypothesis. Then you should know, okay, for the mixed method, we have a few design, okay, fixed method. Okay, then you need to identify which design in mixed method is suit you punya study ataupun suit you punya objective. Right, so you need to identify, okay, the mixed method design. So first design, okay, this is we got it from Creswell 2014. This is the fellow who can be there's four types of mixed method design. We have the convergent parallel designs, right? You can see the convergent parallel design, okay? Nanti we will go for the detail on these types of design, all right? And then we have this explanatory sequential design, and we have exploratory sequential designs, and then we have embedded, okay, embedded design. Right. So as for me, as for my my context of study, I'm using the explanatory sequential design for my mixed method approach. So this is the design that I use for my data collection ataupun for my method lah, right? So for explanatory sequential. Okay. Then we go to further detail on these types of design. Then you know, okay, what's the design that suit you? Okay, what are the design can match with your objective ataupun that you're comfortable with? Yeah, we go through this. All right. So as for the most familiar of the basic and advanced mixed method strategy, okay? And the researcher collect both quantitative and qualitative data, analyze them separately, and then compare the result to see if the finding confirm or disconfirm each other, right? You do the data collection, quantitative and qualitative data, right? You collect it I mean, you conduct it at the same time, right? But you need to analyze it separately. Okay, when you have the data, then you make a comparison. Okay, you want to confirm with both data. Okay, what are the findings derived from both data? Right, this is what we call convergent. And then both qualitative and quantitative data provide different types of information, often detailed view of participant qualitatively and score an instrument quantitatively. And together, the yield result, it should be the same. Okay, they will derive the same meaning, right, for the convergent. We will go through this further. Right, right. And for convergent, for the convergent, you can have it as an interview. Okay, you can have it as an observation. You can have that as a data, the document punya mathematical ataupun synthesize the document ataupun the record. Okay, you can have the method of how the data collection. Okay, the approach you can use. Okay, you collect both form of data using the same or parallel variable, construct or concept. Okay, make sure if you conduct this convergent parallel mix method, you need to make sure both variable for both approach, you need to have the same variable. Okay, you should not have different variable to conduct this approach, yeah, because you want to make sure the both set ataupun both method will derive the same meaning, okay, ataupun the same finding that you want. Okay, regardless you conduct the interview ataupun you punya survey questionnaire. Okay, you want to make sure you punya data way ataupun in the numerical way, right? So you need to use the same variable. All right, and for the qualitative sample size, it will be smaller. Okay, perhaps you can have some interview 10 to 15 ataupun 20 interview, right? And for the quantitative is much more larger, whereby you need to see the sample, you need to see the population. Okay, you need to count the population. But somehow at the end of the day, they will derive the same meaning ataupun the same finding. Okay, this is for the data collections perspective for the convergent. And for the data analysis, okay, the two database are analyzed separately. Okay, of course you analyze separately. Okay, kalau quantitative, of course you can use the numerical punya software ataupun you can put it in the SPSS. Okay, and kalau interview, okay, you put ataupun you transcribe you punya interview script, if you put it into the NVivo. Okay, you put it into NVivo ataupun any apps ataupun any system that can okay, then you got the triangulation process, you tengok the emerging themes, okay, you tengok emerging theme what's derived, apa the findings derived from it, then you brought it together, okay, you view it together, you see what's the quantitative punya finding, what's the qualitative punya finding, okay, you tengok the both data together, right? Then we call it convergent parallel because you bergerak, you move it ataupun you buat the data collection serentak, we call it parallel, right? And then first approach, okay, side by side comparison. Okay, when you have the result, you make a comparison side by side. Yeah, report the quantitative statistical result and then discuss the qualitative finding. Okay, you tengok what's the theme derived from the qualitative finding. Right? Kalau perhaps some of our friends yang they just started ataupun just embark in their postgrad punya journey, perhaps you tak tahu what's the theme, what's the the statistical punya ni, perhaps nanti to share about the qualitative punya approach, they want to share about the the quantitative punya approach, yeah, to share with the student. Perhaps we can have these sessions with all of you soon lah, kan? Kalau we have some some friends ataupun my colleague want to share about this, yeah, in order for strengthen you punya understanding about these both methods, yeah. And then for the second approach is the data transformation. So you have the data, you compare it, then you transform it into kalau for the qualitative, if for the qualitative punya data, you transform it into the quantitative punya variable. Right, you transform it into the quantitative punya variable. So macam mana you want to transform it? Because kalau to have these sessions, we need to have another session in order how to teach you transform this qualitative data into the quantitative punya variable. Yeah, perhaps we can have this further session because each one of these, okay, you are not only need to know about what is the mixed method, what is the quantitative method, what's the qualitative, but you also need to know every single detail about what is the data collections for mixed method, what's data collections for the qualitative ataupun quantitative, and also what's the data analysis, how to interpret, and how to do the validity. So it means that every single of these there will be more explanations on this kinds of subtopic, yeah, and perhaps in other sessions ataupun in the another series of workshop we can concentrate on these kinds of inilah. So it's in order for you get to know further ataupun get to more understanding on this each of the particular subtopic of this, yeah, right. And then the final approach, okay, first you compare, okay, you make the comparison side by side, then second you transform the data, and then final, you need to merging the data to a table ataupun a graph. Okay, when you merge the data, then you see a clear significant of ataupun the real finding of you punya contact opinion study, right? Then you see, okay, dari situ you can see the figures is explaining what, right? What's the meaning of the figure? Okay, what's the variable incurred ataupun what is the variable arise, right, from you punya findings. Then for the interpretations, so basically for data analysis, right, then you will write your interpretation into your discussion section. Okay, as for me, okay, when as for this mixed method punya approach, okay, I need to have two chapter for data for data analysis and for the data interpretation. So means that you have the one chapter for discussion of these two data set. Yeah. So if for even though I'm using the explanatory, but this is how it goes. So you need to have another chapter to discuss about the interpretation of your punya result. Yeah, you repeat to approach, yeah, you mix the you do the mixed method, so you need to report both scenario ataupun both finding, okay, from the approach. So you should have the another part, ada satu lagi chapter to discuss on it. It depends on you how you structure it. It depends you and your supervisor ataupun depend on the doctorate college atau doctorate college atau pasca, okay, how they punya format, yeah. Right, and when divergence occurs, step for follow-up exists. When you see there's some scenario occur, ataupun you see you punya data macam seems like there are some other you need more further further explanation, then you need to go back to your punya data. You need to check it again. Okay, both quantitative and qualitative data, you need to check back your punya data. So this is what we call step for follow-up exists. Okay, step of divergence and limitations is a weak solutions. And then mixed method researcher return to the analysis and further explore the database. Kalau you rasa you want more explanation on that kinds of particular topic ataupun that particular variable, you go play with your data again. Right? You play with your data again, you cari you punya another emerging theme that will explain the scenario. So you go back to your punya qualitative data, you tengok, but you check again. Okay, what's the further explanation? This is why we call it, as a mixed method researcher, okay, you will keep following up with you punya data, return back you punya data, go back to you punya data analysis, play with your data, and go explore you punya qualitative punya data in order to get further punya finding. When you write your punya discussions, you have many data ataupun you have many you have big data set ataupun rich information in order to do your punya discussion chapter. Okay, so as we know that discussion chapter is a very important chapter, especially for you punya finding, you punya content ataupun you punya novelty is there, you punya finding, you punya method di situ, you discuss it, okay, according you punya scenario, according to you punya literature, according to the new ataupun new finding that emerge from your context of your study. So utilize the discussion chapter. This I always share with the student that discussion chapter is a very important chapter, especially for us, for you as a student, yeah, whereby this is the thing that this is you punya opportunity ataupun you punya part, you punya role, okay, you punya study in discussion chapter. Dia atau interpret atau it's not interpret, itu adalah the big ataupun the important chapter, okay, showing that this is my finding of my study. So this is discussion chapter is very, very important. Yeah. So nanti you need, okay, for to do the discussion pun, you need to learn how to apa ni, to argue with previous punya researcher punya finding. So this is the skill ataupun this is the series of workshop that we want to share with the students. Can perhaps we have some colleague ataupun some speaker can share how to do the discussion with all of you later. Yeah, because discussion chapter is very important. Sebab di sini nanti when you go punya viva ataupun you punya pre-viva kan, people will see you punya discussion, how strong are you discuss about you punya finding. Yeah, in the discussion chapter. Then as for validity, all right, validity, as we know that basically validity established from quantitative validity, and also qualitative. So how basically validity for quantitative approach need to how it need to be constructed ataupun need to be validated. Okay, it's also similar with mixed method, whereby mixed method can combine with the two approach. So what happening in the quantitative punya validity, it's also applied in mixed method punya. And unequal sample size may provide less of picture on the side, qualitative side, and the largest numbers on the quantitative side. We have the unequal sample, especially for the qualitative. Qualitative, basically, we will conduct interview until we reach into saturated point. There's no emerging point and a more emerging point. Variable ataupun point that emerge. So means that we stop kita punya interview at that time, right? And then use of difference concept of variable on both sides, okay, may yield incomparable and difficult to merge finding. Okay, a lack of follow-up on conclusion represent an invalid strategy of inquiry. So this is basically the convergent parallel mixed method design. So as you know, convergent mixed method, okay, convergent dia bergerak selari. So people will, when people ask you what is convergent parallel, right? Convergent parallel, you are conducting both qualitative and quantitative at the same time. So we call it convergent parallel. Parallel, bergerak selari ataupun bergerak seiring. Difference respondent lah. So okay, this is a conversion. So you know what's the differences about what is the conversion now, right? And then we go into explanatory sequential mixed method. Okay, this is basically my method, my approach. Okay, I'm using the explanatory sequential mixed method. Basically, for explanatory sequentials, is appear to individual with a strong quantitative background or from few relatively new to qualitative approach. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, when I embark into my PhD journey, I do not know what is a mixed method study. I know, or I'm more familiar with a quantitative approach. Okay, in considering my background in quantitative approach, and also in considering my supervisor. My first supervisor, her background is mixed methods approach, right? With a quantitative, she also did her explanation sequential method, and also in considering my in quantitative, so we decided to go into this explanatory sequential mixed method. So the three of us, we decided to go with this method in our study, right? So basically for for the explanation sequential mixed method, sequentials mean you conduct first phase dahulu. Okay, you first conducting first phase. Okay, either it you conduct with the quantitative, and then you follow with the qualitative. Okay, I start with the instrument first, survey instrument. Then second, I'm following it up with the the qualitative, with the interview, right? Before, right? Right. It's involved two phases of project in which researcher collect quantitative data in the first phase. Okay. Analyze the result and then use the result to plan or build on to the second qualitative phase. Okay, you conduct the first phase, you conduct the survey you analyze the result from your quantity, you see the result, okay, then you use the result to construct it with the interview questions. Okay, you conduct it in terms of qualitative approach, right? You use the result, right? And quantitative result typically inform the types of participants to be purposely selected for the qualitative phase and the types of questions that will be asked for the participant. Okay, quantitative result typically inform the participant, the purpose selected. They will be informed. Okay, basically, as for me, for my study, I'm the respondent of my survey. Okay, is the hotel GM. Okay, GM hotel, because I'm looking into the sustainability practices in hotel restaurants. So my respondent is the decision maker, which is the GM manager with the general manager of the hotel. So that will be my first stage of my data collection. And then for the second stage of data collections, of my data collection. I'm using the same respondent to answer my second to being interviewed in my second data collection in my qualitative approach. Yeah. So overall intent of this design is to have the qualitative data to help explain in more detail the initial quantitative result. Okay, the interview that I conducted with the GM is in order to verify ataupun to give a further explanations about the quantitative result that been derived from the survey for the survey instrument. Yeah, so I will ask them about why this issue, what's the further explanation of this, what's the government punya support, what's you punya idea, okay, this kinds of thing, right? You expand you punya questions from you punya quantitative finding. Okay, analyze the data and then following up with the qualitative interview to help explain the survey responses. So this is the explanatory sequentials mixed method. Okay, you see the differences. Okay, first just now is the convergent parallel. Okay, convergent parallel, you are moving it together. Okay, you conduct both approach at the same time. Yeah, but it's different from explanatory sequential. When you see the sequentials, there will be a sequence, right? Okay, first for the sequence of explanatory, you need to have the quantitative first, okay, then you need to have the second approach to explain, okay, the scenario of the first approach. Yeah, so they require sequential. Okay, there's a first phase and second phase, so you know what's the differences between parallel and sequentials now. Yeah, so we go further with this explanatory after this, right? So this is the explanatory sequentials mixed method, right? So first, okay, for the data collections, okay, you'll be two distinct phases, okay, as I mean. Quantitative sampling, okay, you conduct the survey, you distribute you punya questionnaire, okay, you distribute you punya questionnaire, okay, you need to see you punya population, you punya sample, right? And then for the second phase, okay, the purpose of sampling, qualitative phase, so you need to use the interview, right? You collect with the you interview you punya respondent, right? Qualitative data collections build directly on the quantitative result, right? Qualitative data collections, okay, basically it's with the variable ataupun the questions that you ask is derived from your quantitative result. Yeah, so the quantitative result that then are built on maybe extremes or outlier cases, significant predictors, significant result relating variable, insignificant result or even demographic. So when you use this information in order for you to develop you punya qualitative punya soalan. Okay, it depends whether you want to conduct it open-ended questions or you want to have a semi-structured. Okay, and in order for you to develop questions. Right, so and then explaining the mechanism how variable interact in more length, in more depth. Okay, through the qualitative follow-up is a key strength of this design. Okay, how the variable interact in more depth. Okay, through qualitative. You can see, okay, the scenario is being explained by the qualitative punya approach. Okay, as I mentioned, I'm conducting the first approach is the survey. The survey instrument I distribute to the GM of the hotel, right? And then the second phase, I interview those GM. Okay, I interview those GM in my second phase. So we are discussing in further about those issue. Okay, those issue ataupun those variable that I found the finding that I found in my first phase. So I discuss it further with this GM in the second phase. Yeah. So and for the data analysis, quantitative and qualitative database are analyzed separately. That you are using, you need to analyze both data differently. You need to analyze separately. Yeah, quantitative results are then used to plan the qualitative follow-up. Yeah, quantitative results are planned to your qualitative follow-up. Right, point toward the types of qualitative questions to ask participant. Okay, general or open-ended questions. Depend on you how you want to structure it. Yeah, and useful for research student and perhaps easier to accomplish than convergence design. Okay, it's very useful for research students, very useful for the research student. Okay, because you want to have more data ataupun you want to explain the numerical figure in a qualitative way. Yeah, so it is very useful. Right, interpretation. Okay, basically interpret the follow-up result in the discussion section of the study. Okay, first phase result. Okay, then when you have this explanatory, so in your discussion chapter, you also need to write according to the phases. Okay, first phase, what is you punya? Yeah, so and for this, okay, and for this punya chapter, for discussion punya chapter, when you have first and second phase, and you need in that particular chapter, there will be one section whereby you will merge these two data in your punya writing. Yeah, when you show you punya first phase data ataupun you showing you punya discussion in your first phase. In your first phase, and the second phase is a discussion. And then there's a one section in this particular chapter, you'll be merged these two data and you will generalize ataupun you will discuss. Okay, you're connecting both data set, okay, in one discussion on that in that particular section in that particular chapter. Right, so a discussion chapter for mixed method will be banyak sikit, okay, will be lengthier, right? Because you will discuss from those two perspectives. Yeah, you connect both idea, you connect both finding. Yeah, the qualitative data help result. Okay, qualitative database questions narrow the scope of the quantitative questions, direct comparisons of the two database. Okay, as in the convergent design, mean and adequate comparisons of variables or concept, right? And in terms of validity, it's similar. Establish the validity of the score from the quantitative measure and to discuss the validity of the qualitative finding. Right, so as a similar with the previous approach, so you need to establish the validity, okay, according to that particular approach. Kalau single approach punya quantitative, macam mana dia manage dia punya validity and the qualitative as well, right? And then consider and weight all of the options for following up and quantitative result. Okay, focus on all demographic and look important explanations that need further understanding. So you need to look for the important aspect, okay, where if you think that you need to have more explanation, then you need to look again at the result, okay, at the finding from both sides. And then draw for that, you need to have a good planning process in order to validate this this approach if you're using this approach. Yeah, so this is the explanatory sequential method. Okay, again, okay, you know what is the parallel. Okay, convergent parallel, you bergerak selari, right? You bergerak seiring, and then ataupun you move together, right? And for the sequentials, their phase. Second, you have the sequence. Okay, your first phase, you conduct this quantitative. Second phase, you conduct qualitative. We call it sequentials. Now you know already two types of the design. Then we go to the third design of the method, the mixed method design. Right? Okay. So are we good? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
Yeah, good. Right. Tak ada
Okay,
soalan?
Miss. Okay, Doctor, can.
Alright, so okay. Alright, so very good. Okay, so now we got to the third punya mixed method design. Explanations, sequentials, then we go to the third one. Okay, exploratory sequentials. Okay, yang second, the differences between the second just now is explanatory. Okay, explanatory means that yang tadi tu, yang previous one is yang previous one is explanatory. Kan? You use the qualitative to explain you punya quantitative result. Okay, you use qualitative. Okay, to explain you punya quanti punya result. And for the exploratory pula, as for the exploratory, you use the quantitative to explain you punya result. Okay, memula you will conduct. Okay, nanti we go further on this. Okay, exploratory. You will conduct. First phase you will conducting interview. Okay, then you further explore it with the quantitative. Right? We go through this. What is the exploratory? Researcher first begin by exploring, okay, with qualitative data and analyze and then use the finding in the second quantitative phase. Okay, first you will use interview. Okay, your first approach you will use interview. You interview you punya respondent, right? You gather the information through the interview, regardless. Mungkin you are using the open-ended questions. You interview perhaps 30 people ataupun 20 people. You interview you punya respondent, right? You interview them for about 1 hour, right? Then you transcribe. You get your punya data, okay? You get your punya interview, then you transcribe, okay? You transcribe them, you masuk into NVivo ataupun any software, then you derive you punya finding. You tengok what's the emerging theme that derive from the interview, right? You tengok ada emerging theme ke tidak. Okay, how you need to stop, okay? For you punya how can you stop? How do you think that you punya number you can stop, okay? If you see there's no other new things arise, maksudnya dia dah saturate, okay? Tak ada dah. When you interview this person, he mentions the same thing. When you interview this person, he mentions the same thing. You interview this person, he mentioned the same thing. So it means that you need to stop the interview. Okay, perhaps we can have this qualitative punya session further with other punya speaker later, yeah. So and for this, okay, once you have you punya qualitative punya data, right? You dah analyze that, you have the emerging theme, then you use this variable ataupun you use this theme to conduct you punya survey pula. Okay, you use this variable to conduct you punya second phase punya approach with quantitative. Yeah, use it. And second database built on the result of the initial database. Yeah, develop better measurement with few individual qualitative tests can be generalized into a large sample of populations, right? As for example, macam as I mentioned just now, as we know just now, that if you interview, you're using a few sample, okay? You have a few, let's say you have 30 sample for your interview. Then from this 30, you get the finding, and then you use the variable, you construct you punya instrument, right? You construct you punya instrument, right? You have the instrument, you have the scale already. Kalau you tengok perception, you tengok satisfaction, you get the instrument, you buat instrument, then you do the pilot test. Okay, you buat the pilot test, okay, you tengok dia punya reliability, you kena buang, either you want to delete some item, you have some redundancy or not, right? Then when you have the solid you punya instrument, then you use this instrument again, then you conduct into the big population. You test it, you collect it from the biggest population. You tengok sample size, you tengok population. You collect developing an instrument, right? And then employ a 3-phase procedure with the first phase as an exploratory second as the instrument development, and third as administering the instrument to a sample of a population, right? So this is this is how you do it. Okay, if you think that you punya topic ataupun you punya study, if you punya, okay, just a questions kan just now, kejap I tengok outside. Where's the, kejap. Kejap. Okay, what's kejap. Kejap, yeah. Oh, I go to back to the questions. Okay, right. Okay, go to chat. Okay. Is the exploratory sequential mixed method design, do you recommend to use theoretical framework to underpin the relationships hypothesis prior to qualitative data collections? Thanks. Do you recommend to use theoretical framework? Yes, of course. Yeah. So you need to use, as I mentioned earlier, okay, as for the mixed method, if you will be using a theory actually. Okay, you will be a theory, right? And then for the mixed method, okay, there's issues that arise. For the mixed method study, do we still need to have a framework or not, okay, in order to do the data collections, right? So basically, okay, there's some apa ni kita nak cakap with there's some school of thought that said that, okay, you do not have any. Some of the school of thought said that you need to have framework in order to be the underpinning for you punya method ataupun to the theory that you are type from. Then as for me, okay, as for my stand is back to you punya discussion with your supervisor. Yeah. So what are the school of thought that you are stand for? Yeah, what is school of thought? As for me myself, I'm using the theory ataupun as I mentioned, I'm using the divisions of innovation theory as my underpinning of my punya study. So as I go along, okay, I embedded this theory in my questions, in my survey questionnaire, as well as in my qualitative ataupun in my interview punya structure. So I connect this theory into my questionnaire, okay, and also in my qualitative. Until I punya methodology punya chapter. So this is how I punya stand when I did my study before. So again, it's depend on you and you punya supervisor what are the school of thought that you are using. Right? But somehow, of course, especially for the qualitative, kalau you using the single approach, for example, kalau you only single approach, you using interview, of course, you do not have any framework, okay? Because you want to generalize ataupun you want to develop the framework according you punya nanti from you punya interview, punya finding, right? So is it okay with you? Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. So shall we proceed? If you have any, okay, ataupun you can interrupt it now also can. Yeah. All right. So we go further into explorer sequences yang ni that we discussed just now. So now we go further on this. Right, the exploratory sequences mixed method design, right? So as for data collection, right? So first phase, you start with the qualitative. Yeah, the second phase, you start with the quantitative, right? And then the qualitative data analysis can be used to develop an instrument with a good psychometric properties. For example, you can use the validity and reliability, right? You check the reliability because you already do the interview. Okay, you already do the interview with the respondent, and then you develop the instrument out of the you punya qualitative punya the emerging theme that derived from the qualitative punya finding, right? And for the development of an instrument can proceed by using the code to write item for an instrument, the code to develop variable that group the item, and theme that group the code into scale, right? And want to make, what are the scale that you want to measure. And please bear in mind, if you're doing some scale, especially in your methodology chapter, you will say that, okay, I'm using 5-point Likert scale, I'm using 7-point Likert scale. You need to discuss, okay, why you are using 5-point Likert scale. Okay, why are you using 7-point Likert scale, right? Likert scale, okay, if you're using Likert scale, okay, why are you using this point form, okay, why indicator, why 5-point Likert scale is suitable for your punya instrument, okay, why 7-point is suitable for your instruments, okay, there should be an argument why you pilih ataupun why you choose this point of scale. Yeah, you not simply said, okay, I'm using 5-point scale, but no explanation. No, you need to discuss, okay, why are you using this point of scale? Yeah, so perhaps the other researcher ataupun perhaps from the previous study, 5-point Likert scale is a much more better scale in order to measure perception and discuss. Okay, you get some support from the previous literature, right? Okay, and a qualitative sample, okay, it can be smaller, as we mentioned just now, it can be 20, 30, ataupun it's not necessary need to up to 20, it's depend on your saturated point, yeah. And then the quantitative sample, generalized from sample to a populations, okay. Good procedure, draw both sample from the same populations, but individual for the both sample are not the same, yeah. So you need to make sure. As for the exploratory, okay, because you get your respondent for the interview, right? So you need to make sure you punya respondent for the survey questionnaire will not be the same respondent for you to conduct for you the respondent you get for your interview before. This is different from the explanatory. As for explanatory sequential, you can use the same respondent. Yeah, but you can use the same respondent in order to validate you punya not use the same respondent, right? If you use the same respondent, you might get the same ataupun the result will be the same. So it's advisable for you to use different respondent. Okay, you need to make sure you punya respondent tu tak berulang for your second phase. Yeah, it's not you're not advisable to have the repeat respondent for the second phase. Yeah. And then for data analysis, again, of course, the two data will be analyzed separately. Okay, use the finding from the initial exploratory database to build the quantitative measure. Pay attention to the qualitative data analysis step and determine what finding to build on. Okay, so as for this exploratory, you need to really pay attention on you punya qualitative punya database. So you need to make sure the team already semua information, when you transcribe the data, you need to make sure everything you need to be transcribed. Okay, you need to transcribe all the data. Lepas tu, what's it? Okay, you then everything you already did. Okay, you dah explore every data, right? You need to make sure, because sama kalau if you terlepas ataupun if you miss that, perhaps that's the variable is very important, the variable that can be used to construct you punya instrument. Okay, so you need to make sure you need to really pay attention of you punya triangulation, you punya qualitative variable. And again, of course, for the qualitative, kalau you transcribe the data, kalau one person, okay, it depends. This is the experience. Kalau you transcribe the data from the interview, for one person, it can be up to 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, it depends how long is you punya interview with that particular respondent. And then you need to transcribe, you need to listen, you need to drive it down. Yeah, okay. There's during my study kan, we have this software in the direct college that we can use. Then we have some posts that, okay, then we can reverse, we can make some slow movement of the with the voice, okay, in order for us to key in ataupun to transcribe the interview data. Yeah, so we have this apps ataupun software in my doctoral college before. So it is kita orang punya timing in order to interpret to transcribe the data. Yeah, as kalau kita do it, ni kan if we do currently kan, kalau we do some the data transcribe kan, we listen to the interview, and then we need to stop, we need to pause, then we need to write. Itu listen, stop, and write. This is how it goes, yeah. Kalau we transcribe the interview, let's for example, kalau seorang, if one person, you need to take around 2 to 3 hours to transcribe the data, and perhaps until then, kalau you have 30 people, kalau you have 30 respondents, then you can imagine how. So, okay, this is the scenario line, just to share about the experience in transcribing the data. All right. Okay. So, and next one, the interpretation. Right. So, interpret in the discussion section. Yeah. For example, and the first, you need to report the qualitative data, and then use the qualitative result, right, and to develop the instrument. Second, find the phase of the study. It does not make sense to compare the two databases because they are typically drawn from different sample. Yeah. You should not make a comparison, because you want those first set of data, you use it to derive to develop the instrument. Okay, the intent of the strategy is to determine if the qualitative theme can be generalized to a large sample group. Okay, it can be used. You punya qualitative finding, you want to make sure whether it can be used ataupun can be utilized into the quantitative punya aspect, whereby you can reach into the large populations. Yeah. So in terms of validity, it's a similar of validity in qualitative data and quantitative score. Okay, use the appropriate step to develop good psychometric instrument. Okay, use the richness of the quantitative sample. Again, okay, if you have interviewed that person during your first phase of the study, you should not invite her or he or she to be in your second phase. Yeah, so this is the restrictions, the restrictions of the exploratory sequentials. Okay, and again, okay, just now you know already. Okay, the first is the convergent parallel, you bergerak seiring. Second is the sequence, is the explanatory. Okay, you use the qualitative result, quantitative, and then you explain by the quantitative. You use the quantitative, then you explain by the qualitative. Okay, it's a explanatory. For the exploratory, you explore you explore with the qualitative. Okay, you get all the informations, you explore all the informations, then you use that emerging theme to be an instrument to test it style of mixed method design. Okay, but this is basically the common that people use in the mixed method. Right, so these three design is basically the common use in the mixed method, right? And then this one, Okay, there's several advanced mixed method design. So basically, this is the another 3 more mixed method design. So this is basically more into the experiment, more into the longitudinal ataupun more prolonged. The durations of the research is more longer. Right, so basically they will use this advanced mixed method design. So we have in the advanced mixed method design, we have 3 more types, which is embedded, we have transformative and multi-phase mixed method. Okay, as for embedded mixed method, 1 or more form of data, okay, quantitative or qualitative or both, with a larger design narrative study, you do some experiment ataupun you do some ethnography. Okay, I hope some of you know what is this ethnography. Okay, you sit down in one community, okay, you observe people, you see how people react atau how people speak ataupun how pattern of eating, okay, you think how's their behavior, right? You observe people. We require ethnography. Then popular design with the health science and when investigated test interventions and program in applied setting. So basically, embedded mixed method, okay, because it's involved more longer ataupun more long process. So basically, it's a very popular in the health science punya context, punya discipline. Yeah. So and then for transformative mixed method, incorporate elements of the convergence, explanatory sequentials, and explore sequential approach within a social justice framework to help marginalized groups. So this is basically you want to conduct some framework to assist this the community ataupun you want to develop a blueprint, you want to develop and that be utilized in the community punya context ataupun in the in any in big scope. Yeah, so you will use the transformative mixed method. Yeah, so use a social justice theory as a framework for mixed method study. Okay, basically this theory being used, these types of mixed method, okay, we will be use theory, for example, for family racial frames, many aspects of the mixed method studies, such as research problems, questions, data collection, analysis, interpretations. Okay, popular study, imaginary group, various country. Okay, basically, this transformative punya mixed method basically to be used to identify, to do some research on indigenous populations. For the females punya context, for the racial and ethnic group ataupun disabled individual. So you have some focus group ataupun you have some respondent that you have identified and you do want to have some changing in that particular context. So you will do some transformative punya mixed method lah. And then for multi-phase mixed method, if you conduct several sometimes including only quantitative or qualitative studies and longitudinal studies. Okay, means that the project too lama, right? You means that you will use every phase of the mixed method approach in the long duration of your context of your data collections. Yeah, popular in the evaluations of program implementation field in which multiple phase of the project stretch over time. Okay, example, if you want to see some implementation of some blueprint ataupun some context, some program. So of course you need to have some time to make sure whether that program is successful or not. Okay, if for example you want to see that kind of program into that year student, kalau that particular student, then you need to see until the student finish their study. Okay, as for example 3 years. Okay, you need to observe ataupun you need to monitor ataupun you need to conduct some tests ataupun some approach into during that 3 years. Okay, in order for you to identify. Okay, multi-phase method. You use variety of approach. Okay, to conduct these kinds of study. Okay, may go back and forth between quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method study, but they build on each other to address a common project for common programs objective. So this is basically the advanced methods design. So basically, we as a postgrad student, we seldom utilize this this advanced mixed method. So what we basically when we do ataupun when we apply is sama ada you come up with the convergent parallel, explanatory sequential ataupun exploratory sequential. So this is the three method that basically you will see whether it suit you or not in you punya study nanti. Yeah, right. So this is basically just for you punya understanding lah. So this in doing you punya write up ataupun the symbol that we use to reflect, okay, the pemberat ataupun the weightage of our what we call our the process of kita punya mixed method procedure, right? So mixed method notations provide shorthand labels and symbol that convey important aspect of mixed method research, and they provide a way that mixed method researcher can easily communicate their procedure. So they use, okay. Right, so do you have a question here? Kejap, saya tengok soalan dulu. Okay, kejap. I begini dulu. I am sure. Macam mana nak back to okay, kejap. Okay, I go to the questions first, yeah? Alright. Okay, so sorry, I have a few questions. When we're using mixed method in general for interview, do we need to analyze the participant answer response at face value, or we need to seek help from language expert to translate certain usage of words used by participant? Okay. The second question, do we need to take into account on the non-verbal language whether they are lying nervous? Okay. As for this one, okay, as for this contact, okay. Okay, I answer the first questions first, yeah. So we are using mixed method in general for interview. Do we need to analyze the participant answer response at face value, or we need to seek help from language expert to translate certain usage of word used by participant? Actually for this research. Okay, what is you punya research question? So do you need to have these signs ataupun this face punya expressions in order to derive you punya finding or not? Okay, if you say that the respondent gesture ataupun the respondent expressions, okay, is the thing that you want to look, okay, is one part of the you punya finding that you want to see. So you can observe it, okay, but somehow, okay, sometimes, okay, the interview is depend. You want to record the interview ataupun you only use the voice recorder to do the interview. And if you use if the respondent agree to be recorded, then you can play the video, and then during you punya data, you transcribe you punya data, you can play with the video, then you can see the punya expressions, right? And then you can determine if you think to derive your punya finding, then perhaps you can get, atau if you are the one, if you're expert in recognizing the your punya expression, you can do it by yourself, ataupun you can get some help to do those from your expert in determine the gesture ataupun the facial expressions. Yeah, it depend on your objective actually, right? Kalau memang you punya objective tu nak tengok, if you want to see if the respondent is nervous, they are telling the truth or not, atau they are being sincere or not, it depends. right? If you are just looking into the thing ataupun the point they are saying ataupun the explanations, you want to look for dia punya understanding, to identify dia orang punya understanding, you want to identify dia orang punya perception ataupun dia orang punya suggestions on certain matters. Okay, I don't think it's involve any explanation, but somehow you can report it in you punya methodological chapter ataupun in your punya discussion chapter, right? You can report it, okay? Using to add on you punya finding with some expressions. Yeah, it's depend on you. Kalau you kalau memang is it you want to utilize ataupun you want to add some this value, okay, is the value, the expression, the gesture is depend on you. Yeah, it's depend on you how you, if you want to add on, you can add on it. If it's just one of you punya you punya contributions ataupun you want one of you punya finding. Yeah, and then is it okay, Kathleen? Again, the second one, do we need to take into account on the non-verbal language whether they are lying nervous? Yeah. It's depend on, as I said, it's depend on what is your objective actually. What is your objective of this study? Kalau you memang nak tengok, if you want to see dia, memang want to see diorang punya explanations together with diorang punya expressions, you can write it down. After you can discuss diorang punya apa ni, gesture. Yeah, right. So it's okay, Kathleen? Kathleen. Are you good, Kathleen? Again? All right. So you remember you punya objective is to look for the gesture as well, isn't it? Is it you want to see the gesture of you punya respondent as well? Kalau if you want to see the gesture, you can have it. Okay, you can write in you punya ni. Oh, just wondering. Okay. Yeah. Somehow, okay, basically kalau those, yeah, if you have, kalau you punya objective ada include the gesture, perhaps you can look some thesis ataupun journal on the psychology ataupun health science, okay, whereby they use this gesture, they use some facial expressions, the sickness, the emotion, right? The emotion, okay, macam mana they interpret ataupun they conclude it together with the explanation. So you can see how they discuss on this part, okay, using the expressions. How they write their finding, okay, out of this. Yeah, right. So the second question, the next question is, could you please explain the concept of meta inference and mixed method interpretation? Does it replace the traditional discussion and meta inference? So it means that meta inference is a meta analysis, isn't it? Ataupun concept of meta inference in mixed method interpretation, does it replace the traditional discussion and interpretation? Okay, Humberto, what do you mean by this? Okay, meta inference in mixed method interpretations. Does it replace the traditional discussion and interpretation? Okay, the traditional discussion, what you mean is the single method punya discussion, isn't it? Kalau for the mixed method interpretation is that how do you combine those two data and how do you interpret those data and you discuss those two, you mix it together. Okay, and kalau we see it into the traditional discussion, kalau you look at the single method and also mixed method is different, because single method you are looking into one part of data set ataupun you want one set of one finding. But for the mixed method, okay, for mixed method you are using both data and to interpret it, you're going to embed it ataupun integrate both data to explaining both approach, okay, which one is supporting which, right? The discussion, okay, which one is supporting those findings. So this is basically, okay, for the, kalau this is what I understand by the traditional discussion lah and interpretations. Okay, so kalau if we have some further on this meta inference, perhaps we can have this discussion with our other colleague here after this. Kalau about if you still can't answer you punya questions, yeah, I do have some our colleague here that perhaps can answer you punya questions on regard to this meta inference. Yeah. Usage of word when we are recording the interview, right? If the participant use words such as strongly feel, had a displeased, we just take this word as a face value, or we need to analyze more into it. Okay, perhaps, okay, yang this one, okay, strongly feel, help, displeased. Okay, ini kan, again, it's depend on you. Actually, it depend on what is your adjective. Do you think that kalau dia said strongly feel about you punya questions ataupun the question that you throw to him ataupun her, kalau dia said strongly feel, it's much more better if you said, can you please further explain ataupun can you please further discuss ataupun briefly explain again, what do you mean by you strongly feel? Okay, kalau you tanya, if you ask them again, if you ask the respondent again, so they will they will derive more answer to you, right? So then you can connect that strongly feel, okay, with the answer that to interpret that. Right, you can use the strongly feel. Okay, what's the why they are strongly feel? Because of this. Okay, you can use their next answer. Right, you can keep it as you did the explanation, and somehow juga you can use this strongly feel in order to discuss further you punya discussion nanti. Okay, the respondents strongly feel about this particular issue, and then you explain it with his ataupun her answer. Yeah. Right, in terms of this thing, okay, but use words as well. And sometimes if they said they're really hurt about it, right? So you can ask them, can you further explain why do you hurt about it? Okay, why you dislike about it, right? You want to, that's why the qualitative punya approach, you can easily tackle ataupun you can get explanations, okay, from those strong words. Okay, from those strong words, you can easily get more understanding. Okay, instead of you interpret atau further ataupun give more explanation how they feel about it. Yeah, so this kinds of thing. Okay, use this opportunity when you heard some strong words. Okay, that might be some idea ataupun some point for you to write in your discussion later. Yeah, so I hope you can use this opportunity untuk kalau you have this strong word, kalau you get some interview nanti, right? Okay, Kathleen. Alright, so right, kalau tidak, then we proceed to next punya slide. Yeah, nanti we go back to the discussion, and if I can't answer it, we have some colleague that can answer it from here. Yeah, okay. Okay, we go to the next slide. Okay. So again, so this is a notation used. Okay, nanti this is simply so basically for the uppercase, okay, basically for the uppercase, they will give a greater emphasis given to the method. Okay, means that you emphasize on the quantitative and qualitative method, right? So, and then for the lowercase, it's basically less emphasizing to the method. So you're not focusing on the method so much. Okay, and for example, for the plus sign indicate the conversion or merging integration. So it means that you are integrate, okay, the both method together, and this is sequential, means that they are error. Okay, kalau error means that the sequential. Okay, follow up, okay, start with the qualitative and follow up by the quantitative. Means that the qualitative data will be the important data for you before you derive it from the quantitative, right? And then this sign, okay, parenthesis signs, okay, embedded within the design of framework, a quantitative, then you have in the middle, okay, you punya the first approach, right? This is recursive, means that you can go back and forth. Okay, and this is some boxes here, means that there are some study will be conducted within this qualitative in series. So this is basically the notation which is I think and I believe it's just for you punya understanding. Okay, what are the symbols mean? What's the meaning behind of the symbols? Yeah. Okay. Salah. Right. And then, okay, factor. Okay, why we choose a mixed method design? Okay, there's a five factors determine, okay, why we choose this mixed method, okay, in our context of study. Okay, it can based on what you want to have for your outcome. Okay, for example, if you want to compare your different perspective, okay, you want to merge the two database, okay, to show how the data convergent or diverse. So you can use use these two database. Okay, you want to show any convergent, then you go for convergent parallel, right? If you think that you want to have more understanding, in-depth understanding on the quantitative result, okay, then you go for explanatory, right? Kalau you rasa you nak more understanding on the quantitative result, you go for explanatory. It being explained by the qualitative. At the end of the day, you'll be explained by quantitative what the figures is all about. Okay, what's the number, what's the p-value is all about. Right? And then if you think that you want to have a test or better measure for a sample of populations, okay, then you go for exploratory sequential mixed methods. Okay, you go for exploratory. Okay, kalau you rasa you punya novelty, you want to have model. Okay, for your PhD, you want to you nak produce a model ataupun you want to develop an instrument, okay, to test to this kinds of context study. So this is your model. So you want to have this is my PhD, this is my model, this is my instrument. So you go for this exploratory sequential mixed method. Okay. Quantitative. Yeah. So, and then if you think that you want to have understanding on participants' view within the context of an experimental intervention, then you go to embedded mixed methods design. So basically these three, okay, embedded, transformative, multi-phase, kita jarang guna. Right? Kita jarang guna, melainkan if you want to see for the policy, kalau you nak buat policy maker, if you want to get some evaluations of some program, then you can go to this advanced mixed method. Okay, you can go for embedded mixed method, you can go the transformative ataupun multi-phase mixed method. So basically, and as far as I know, and as far that I get experience from my friends, my colleagues, and then my previous previous colleague in doctorate college. Okay, basically most of us is using these three types lah: convergent, parallel, explanatory, and exploratory. Okay, mixed method. Yeah. Mixed method is according to how you want the data to be used together. Right? This is if you choice based on how the data will be used together ataupun integrated together. Okay, merging the data involve combining the quantitative and qualitative data through procedure or side-by-side comparison, data transformations, or joint display. Then you can connect the data means that the analysis of one data set is used to lead into the second data set. In embedding one data set involving quantitative, qualitative, or combined data embedded with a larger design. So you can, if you think that you want to integrate both data, then you can choose mixed method, right? And then the third one, it based on your timing of your data collections. Whether the two databases are collected concurrently or roughly at the same time, or with the following or the other sequentially. So it depends on you. Kalau we as a student ataupun we as a postgrad student, we will be giving some time for our data collection in your Gantt chart kan. And you punya milestone, you already in the early year of do some data collection for 4 to 6 months. Okay, 4 to 6 months. So you need to utilize this 4 to 6 months to do your data collection. Then you will see, okay, which approach in the mixed method is suitable for your timeline. Okay, for your timeline. Okay, whether it's concurrently ataupun you need to do it at the same time ataupun sequentially. Okay, as for me myself, okay, I utilize 4 months to conduct the data collection. Itu data collection saja tau, to collect 4 months. Okay, and then to interpret the data will be the another for tambah lagi bulan. Okay, itu baru interpret. It's not analyzing yet. Yeah, as for me, I have a rough time in difficultiness in terms of to generalize ataupun analyze I punya data, okay, because my supervisor asking me to go for more to do binary logistic regressions. Okay, my supervisor asked me to do the binary logistic regressions, and then I need to get some expert to utilize to help me to analyze my quantitative data. Yeah, to my quantitative data. So it took me some time for me to analyze to get a good result. Okay, ataupun to get the most preferable data on that time. So it took me quite some time. So more or less, I punya data collection and I punya data analysis took me around 1 year. Okay, so that's why you really need to look into you punya Gantt chart. Okay, you need to make sure you punya timeline when you study. You need to make sure you punya Gantt chart tu you need to meet you punya Gantt chart. You tak boleh lari daripada you punya Gantt chart. If you are sponsored student, if you are student the duration of your study, you say you've been given a scholarship for 3 years, for 4 years, so you need to utilize those time. You need to make sure give your timeline tu adalah you need to follow your timeline, yeah, because nanti kalau dia terkeluar daripada your timeline, is ada external factor, okay, nanti yang akan melambatkan the process. Yeah, so you need to make sure you follow the timeline. Kalau you kata 4 bulan is your data collection, you need to work for 4 months for your data collection. Yeah, right. And then the fourth one is choose. You need to choose you punya ini based on types of design more suited with the field. Okay, for quantitative oriented field, okay, the explanatory sequential approach seems to work well because the study begin by quantitative phase of the research. Okay, in qualitative oriented field, the exploratory sequential approach may be more appealing because it's begin with explorations using qualitative field. It depends on the situation. It depends on you punya contextual setting. Okay, which one is you rasa you think that is more suitable? Yeah, in some field, the choice of approach maybe depends on the collecting data efficiently, and this would argue for a convergent mixed method study in which both quantitative and qualitative data are typically collected at roughly the same time rather than different time and require more visit to the research sites. Okay, it depends on the field itself. Okay, sometimes kalau if you conduct you punya data collection, sometimes if you start with you punya first phase, then you need to come, if you, for example, if you go for the explanatory data collection, so explanatory approach means that you need to go back to that field again for the second time because you want to interview the same people, so the same person. Yeah, kalau for the exploratory, it doesn't matter for exploratory ataupun convergent, because kalau convergent you conduct it parallelly, means that you go to that site one time only, right? Kalau you go for the exploratory, it means that you only use one part, you are depends on you punya situation, which field is much more suitable for you. Yeah. So now, and the last one is choice based on single researcher or team. Okay. And for example, we as a postgrad student, of course, we are single researcher. So you need to make sure you punya timeline, okay, ataupun the method that you're choosing is suitable for you as a postgrad student, because you have the timeline for you to do data collection, and you have you have some duration for you to finish your study. So you need to do some consideration on this. It's different. Kalau if you're working, if you are a researcher, you can, because researcher, you have team or you have group of researcher to work together. Okay, to work together to do the data collection, to do the data analysis is different. Okay, kalau you are a postgrad student, so you need to have this as a consideration. Okay, if you're conducted alone, of course, yeah, perhaps memanglah kalau postgraduate student memang conduct it alone. So you need to have this kind of consideration. Nah, if you want to choose this mixed method, okay, first is based on you punya outcome, okay, apa you expected, what to derive from it. Okay, second is how you want to use the data. Okay, and the third, you punya timing of data collection. Okay, kalau you punya masa tu you have ample time, by all means you can have the longitudinal punya ni, okay, advanced mixed method, okay, and then it depend on you punya field, okay, it's which one is more suitable for you punya field, okay, and then you punya, if of course you are alone doing it. Yeah, so this is the 5 criteria in order to choose a mixed method design, right? Right. So this is basically, we are most towards the end kita punya ini, right? So this is basically a mixed method proposal format. So this is basically, sorry, it's actually a Creswell, I salah aja, sorry. So researcher bring together approach that included in both quantitative and qualitative format. So this is basically a format idea in terms of you punya proposal if you are conducting mixed method proposal. So it's a more or less in the mixed method, in the method section, you will have the quantitative data, you have the phases. Okay, kalau you conduct it parallel, you need to report it in your data, in your proposal, you need to report it as a parallel. Okay, you need to do it parallel, you punya discussion in your method chapter, you need to do it parallelly. Kalau you have the phase, kalau you ada sequential, so you need to report it sequential. First phase is what, second phase is what. So you need to have this like this, right? The format is like this, but this is only a guideline, but the real format is depend on you depends on you and your supervisory team as well you punya doctoral college. Yeah, so this is how it goes. Okay, this is only a guideline. So basically, kalau mixed method, we have this every single thing we need to put in kita punya proposal. Sama juga, when you finish your data collection, then you have a chapter for the finding. You have more discussion ataupun you punya chapter you punya result. Kathleen, nanti I go back to your questions, ya. I habiskan ni dulu, ya. Right? Right, so this is basically the proposal format, okay, and it is important. So, okay, in the proposal, you need to specify early, okay, in the proposal, the reason ataupun rationale, okay, the reason ataupun rationale that you are using, why you are using mixed method, okay, in order to and to identify the key elements of the design, such as types of mixed method study, a visual diagram of the procedure, and both quantitative and qualitative data collection and analysis steps. So you need to, in the early of the proposal stage, okay, you need to make sure, okay, in your proposal you already mentions that you are using mixed method in your study, in your context of study. So you need to start from in your proposal, right? And then this part could make the mixed method proposal lengthier. So kalau you masukkan semua, you make maksudnya proposal you lagi banyak lah, because you have sequential, you have parallel, everything you need to report in your proposal, right? People will see how you do you punya proposal ni nanti will be the guideline for you to do you punya the real thesis tu nanti, yeah, right? Alright, so and then the ethical issues in mixed method designs. So basically, the ethical considerations that we need to focus in the mixed method design is what we found in the qualitative and also the quantitative punya methods. Okay, the ethical issue in qualitative and also quantitative will be the thing that we need to consider in mixed method. Okay, because this mixed method study ataupun this mixed method punya research design is the combinations of these two approach. So what we found ethical issue that we need to focus in qualitative, that what we yeah. So the Quantitative study require researcher to obtain, permissions, protect anonymity, avoid descriptions of sites, and communicate the purpose of the study accurately. Qualitative study require researcher to communicate the purpose of the study accurately, avoid deceptive practice, respect the study population, and respond to the potential power concern and confidentiality. So if quantitative punya ethical issue is this, qualitative punya issue is this, so in a mixed method punya design, all of this is the ethical issue that we need to focus on. Okay, all of these ethical issues are also ethical issue for mixed method research design. Okay, this is what being informed by Creswell. Okay, in their books and also in their journal. Okay, what we found in the quantitative and qualitative is what we need to consider ataupun we need to focus in the mixed method punya design. Yeah, so and then okay, this is I gather, okay, for us punya to have kita punya to see kita punya understanding about the comparison between these three approach. Yeah, so kalau for the qualitative, okay, basically the philosophical assumption they were using constructs, transformative, and knowledge claim. Okay, kalau for quantitative they will use a post-positivist knowledge claim. Okay, for philosophical. Kalau mixed method is a pragmatic. Yeah, and then employ this strategy of inquiry. Basically, qualitative, we are using the phenomenology, crowded theory, ethnography, case study, and narrative. And for the quantitative, it's survey and experiment. And for the mixed method, either you do it sequential, either you do concurrently, ataupun transformative. And for those who employ the methods that they employ for the qualitative is open-ended questions, emerging approach, text or image data. And for the quantitative approach, they do a closed-ended questions, predetermined approaches, numerical data. And for mixed method, both open and closed-ended, both emerging and predetermined approach. Pieces of research as a researcher. Okay, for the qualitative, they position him or herself. Okay, collects participant meaning. Okay, focus on a single concept or phenomena, bring personal value into the studies the context of setting participant, validate the accuracy, make interpretations, create agenda, collaborate with the participant. This is also for qualitative. And as for the quantitative, okay, the test of verified theories or explanation, identify variable to the study, relate variable, use standard of validity, observe measure, uses bias approach, employ statistical procedure. And as for mixed method, they collect both quantitative and qualitative data, develop rationale. This is what we go just now, integrate the data, present visual pictures, employ the practice of both qualitative and quantitative punya research. So this is basically the differentiations between these three approaches lah. Kalau nanti, perhaps nanti we have another session with other colleague ataupun the other speaker, perhaps they can share about what's the qualitative approaches, okay, what are their punya philosophical punya paradigm, what's the strategy they use, what's okay, same goes to the quantitative approach. Okay, we hope in the next series to come, we have this, those speakers can share with you their experience in this because they are the expert in this kinds of this approach. Yeah, so this is basically what we have in this research world, right? Ataupun in this as a postgrad students ataupun as a student that are involved in this research, kan we need to know about each of the approach we need to know about each of the approach. Yeah, so we need to learn everything. Okay, nowadays it's good to have more knowledge on each of the method. Okay, because sometimes you need to depends on what is your objective, what is your research questions in order for you to derive the certain finding of your context study. Yeah, so this is basically all right. All right, so this is basically some of the reference that I used to develop this the main thing is that I'm referring to these books, okay, research design, qualitative mixed method approach, says publisher. This is the main author ataupun the ones that can be called as one of the pioneer of this mixed method research designs lah. right? So this is some of it. Kalau if you have, I do have some collections of all of this journal. Okay, if you would like to have this this journal, I can send it to Puan Eli, then Puan Eli can distribute to all of you. I do have some of the collections of the journal. Yeah, so okay, that's all from me. So this is I give you some founder ataupun some inilah for your ataupun your postgrad study, and I hope okay this presentation can help you guys to for your for your journey. So we can go for the Q&A session. So I go. Okay. All right. So we have a questions here. Thank you so much, Hambetter. All right, so from Kathleen, okay, what is the discrepancy between the qualitative and quantitative result? Okay, such as qualitative strongly disagree, assuming that most participants use these words a lot, while quantitative result disagree. This is assuming that the result are toward a particular questions. What would happen from there? Is there a measure amongst examiner? Do we need to recollect the data? Such discrepancy between the qualitative and quantitative research as qualitative. Okay, for example, strongly disagree. Strongly disagree. Assuming the most usually use this word. While quantitative research disagree, which is assuming what would happen from there? Is that a measure from among examiner? Do we need to recollect as time? Do you mean that, Catherine? Do you mean that while quantitative research disagree, this is assuming the result toward a particular question? What would happen?
Well, strongly disagree.
Okay, so do you mean that if you're conducting a single method, okay, it means that if you're conducting a single method, there will be you punya explanation ataupun you punya finding will be stopped there. Kalau if you're using mixed method, if you have this answer ataupun you have this finding derived from you punya database, then you can go further back. You can go back to you punya big data set. Then you explore again what the interpretations about you punya what is kalau qualitative, what they mean by this strongly disagree. Okay, then of course in you punya interview, that's why when you're conducting an interview, you need to know how to get some you need how to ask the questions. Okay, when as I mentioned earlier of your questions just now, kan, if the interviewer, you need to ask them to further explain. Okay, furtherly explain why they are strongly disagree about that, right? And then you get this answer. Okay, then you write in your punya, then you transcribe, then you write in your punya discussion chapter. Okay, they said strongly disagree because of what? Because of this scenario, because of this thing. So if I'm not sure if others. So if I as an examiner, I will see they strongly disagree is about what? Okay, what's the meaning of this strongly agree, right? So what's the justification of strongly disagree that you derive from your finding? What are these discussion? Kalau in terms of quantitative result, disagree. Kalau in the mean scale, kalau scale 1 to 5, kalau most of that particular variable towards the disagree punya point ataupun disagree punya mean, so that will be you punya. That will be a single method. If there's you punya mixed method, okay, you can use you punya disagree to explain further in you punya qualitative. Yeah, to being explained further in you punya qualitative. Okay, kalau examiner said will be the major among examiner we do, we need to collect the data. I'm not really sure about this. If the examiner will see in that kind point of view to see about you punya kalau it's a mixed method lah. If the mixed method, I'm not sure if they will give you major corrections to ask you to collect again the data. Right, I'm not really sure, but it depends the whole part of your punya thesis. Okay, the whole component of your punya discussion. How you brought together you punya data ataupun you punya discussion tu. Macam mana you discuss, macam mana you argue you punya the whole set of your data in order for them to collect again the data. Yeah, so it depends on how you develop you punya discussion ataupun throughout you punya chapter tu. Yeah. So kalau if it's a single approach, then kalau it's a single approach, okay, without a mixed method, it's single approach. So I don't think that you will I don't think that you will directly report. You will go back to your data, check balik punya data. If it is quantitative, kalau you be using SPSS, you want to check again you punya data. Kalau whether you punya data tu you already clean you punya data or not. Kalau you tengok you punya distribution of you punya data. Kalau you punya pattern still the same or not, kan you will see the pattern still the same, right? Then perhaps you can get some another collect the data ataupun you need to delete some of the respondent in order for you to get you punya data. You need to play around with you punya data. And you punya submission, then baru you sedar that you punya data tu is wrong. Data tu macam the finding, the significant of your data tu tidak berapa strong ataupun this kinds of thing. Yeah, so you need to, it's the whole process actually this examiner will look into. It's not only, it's very subjective actually. So as for me to say that the examiner will give you major ataupun apa, it's very subjective because it's examiner punya part, they will see macam mana the whole process punya, they will read through the whole chapter, they read through your discussion in order for you derive that kinds of finding. Yeah, okay, clear? Okay, perhaps my other colleague can assist on this if perhaps some of them they can. Okay, very clear. Okay, good. Okay, if you have any questions, you can try it here. This is a sharing sessions among all of us. Okay, this is a platform whereby we can help each other. Okay, during my so even though my field is different from their field, but when we talk to each other, some of the thing that we can apply dekat kita punya situation ataupun dekat kita punya research setting kan, some of those questions and how you can learn from them, how they do some interview, you can learn from them how they key in the data, so these kinds of things. Actually, the sharing session is very, as a postgrad students kan, it's good to be in a group. Right, so we can share information, even though they might not know what we are doing, and we might know what they are doing as well. But somehow we have that common whereby we do a research together, right? So even though we have different approach, right? So lagi ada soalan lain? Or any perhaps my other friends they want to share about something. Yeah, is there any questions? We have other friends here as well. Ataupun we have other postgrad students who already do the data collections, we want to give some sharing. Here we have PhD student here. Okay, we can have these sharing sessions among each other. Right? Ada lagi? Yeah. Okay, basically kan during my postgrad study kan, kalau belum ada soalan, let me share some experience. That what I have been through in my postgrad study. Basically, my routine. Okay, basically I'm a morning person. Okay, I'm a morning person. Basically, I start my routine as early as 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock. Sometimes it's 9 o'clock. Because I from my house I need to walk to the campus. I need to go to my office because we have been given office. Okay, I utilize my office space. Okay, to study. Okay, because if I studied at home, I have so many things that I want to do. I want to eat. I want to cook. I want to sleep. I want to watch movie. So I need to take out. I need to go from my comfort. Okay, when I see my friends, okay, because as a postgrad student, we have a space, kan? We have space, we have friends around, we have the facilities there. So kita duduk, we sit in our office, we do some work. When we see people is doing their work, kita pun rasa motivated, kita pun rasa encouraged to work our own, to do our work as well. If there's sometimes there's a day I do experience as well. There's a day that I can't even write every single words ataupun every single page. Every single page pun I tak boleh, I can't write one sentence pun I macam susah nak generate idea. So what I did is that when I can't do some writing, okay, I compose some literary journal. I do some journal. Okay, I read some journal, skim and scan the journal. Okay, I do the thematic analysis. Put some journal, right? So when I can do some writing, so when I have some idea, sometimes the idea is what we call in the bahasa pasar, and simplify the words ataupun use simple words, okay, so that the idea won't go away, right? So I have some book with me every time, even though now pun I have books on my table, so everything I want to write, so okay, so I just put there. So when the time I want to start my writing, so I just flip and see what's the idea. So this is how it goes. And then I going back from office, perhaps sometime it's 5 to 6 in the evening. I take off. I balik rumah. I masak, I makan, then I tidur. And I set my days like this. So basically, I work Monday until Friday, okay, and it's I utilize it as my office hour, kan, because I cuti belajar, so I get used that my working time is 8 to 5 ataupun 8 to 6. So I still use that pattern, that routine, right? And then on Saturday and Sunday, I do not working on Saturday and Sunday, and if there's no submission. Kalau tak ada submissions, I tak for some cafe, have some dessert with my friends, kan? And then kalau Sunday I do some grocery, I go some do some my laundry, this kind of thing. So this is my routine lah. Kalau as me as a full-time student, kan, I don't have any yang interrupt me, so I do this kind of pattern. And then kalau if there's submissions, for example, I basically report to my first supervisor. I report to my first supervisor. So every once a month, so once in 2 weeks, we need to have some meeting. Okay, I need to have some meeting with her. So once in 2 weeks. So and then we do have one supervisory meeting. Okay, supervisory team meeting means that three of us will sit together. Okay, 3 of us will sit together in once a month. Okay, they will see my progress, they will see how my writing, right? They will see how it goes, right? So once a month we do have will see my first supervisor. And despite of doing this study, I also attended some courses. Okay, mostly I attended some courses lah, because some of basically the courses will last until 2 hours. So once I go to my office and I go to the workshop venue. Okay, it's basically around the campus actually. So I attended some writing workshop. Okay, this is very important as we as a postgrad students, we need to know how to write academic writing. Okay, basically, academic writing is a very different as in writing yang biasa. Okay, because academic writing you need to look for some support punya journal ataupun some discussion that you need to have some idea, right? You need to see how you need to argue and you need to discuss in terms, especially in the writing. So basically, I attend sampai level 3, okay, level 3 of the academic writing for one semester. Actually, for one academic writing is basically around 2 months. Again, I go to first because we are non-English punya speaking country, kan, we sometimes it's very difficult, we put our thought into the academic writing, is very different. Okay, even though orang putih pun even though orang putih pun they have the very difficult to put the academic writing. So this is the opportunity. When you have the opportunity to attend academic writing punya workshop, go and attend the academic writing. Then you can see how macam mana to do academic writing, right? And also if you have the if there's any workshop, especially for the SPSS and Vivo punya workshop, any workshop that can ataupun if you're using PLS, any workshop, this is to strengthen you punya methodology part. You go attend it. Use this you punya time as a postgrad student. Okay, kalau even though you still have not got to that phase yet, so you can go enroll it as early as possible so that you can get an idea. Okay, when you develop you punya proposal, when you start to thinking about for you punya data analysis, then you know types of analysis. So you go enroll to those courses, right? Okay, go if the postgrad center, postgraduate college, they have they have some courses. You go enroll, you get some understanding, get some idea on it, how to do it. Right, so and then for the other approach as well. So get this opportunity to enroll to many courses, right? And for literature, how to do a literature as well. So you need to know how to do the literature as well. Okay, with literature, academic writing literature is not only reporting. Yeah, literature for academic is you need to argue and discuss. Right, you need to argue. Okay, you need to argue about the literature. Okay, we can see kan. Nanti bila if you know how to do the academic punya writing ataupun literature writing kan, you can see macam mana the real literature, macam mana people write discussion in the literature, right? And then the most important part in the kita punya what we call in the important. Okay, chapter 1, where is your idea is being highlighted. Okay, chapter 1 is very important. This is where you punya idea will be integrated ataupun will be highlight. Okay, you punya objective, you punya research question is there, and then you punya everything is there. Okay, this is where people will really emphasize on chapter 1. Okay, the examiner ni akan tengok the examiner will see you punya chapter 1 first. Then make sure everything you put in your punya chapter 1, you will put in the chapter 2, you put in the chapter 3, and towards the end of your conclusions in your chapter. So you need to have everything there, right? Ada synchron, dia maksudnya ada urutan tu just there in the component. Every component is there, right? This is how it's going to flow lah. This is some of I punya the way I spend my postgraduate. So kalau cuti, during cuti, we dulu in my study time, we need to apply cuti from my supervisor. Supervisor is the one yang give cuti. On a public holiday, right? Kalau if you want, if you're during, okay, you want to balik kampung, you need to inform your supervisor you want to balik kampung. Okay, in my time, okay, because we are international student. When we go to other country, kan we are international student. Supervisor is the one to give you permissions to go cuti, right? Because you have that visa. Kalau you macam get some ada some problem kan, you make some problem, nanti visa you kena tarik. So since we don't want this, so basically kalau I cuti, my supervisor will give me cuti. Sometimes kan she will the one yang akan reward me kan. Okay, seems like you done very good in this few weeks. Okay, I can see your writing ada improve. How about you go and have some break for 1 week. Okay, my supervisor, they will advise me to give some break. Even though I said, okay, it's okay, I will stay at home. Okay, I just stay in the office. No, you should not. You need to refresh yourself. You go somewhere atau go some hang out. Dia tak mau because my supervisor is really concerned kalau I stuck ataupun I can't produce ataupun I down kan, begitu. So my supervisor is the one yang really pushing me, is the one yang memang work closely with me. I do believe that some of our friends and colleagues here pun they have some experience with their supervisor, yeah, from how they work together with their supervisor. So I think that's all. Macam panjang pula saya ceritakan. So okay, is there any questions? Okay, kalau ada soalan, perhaps our punya friends here can share. Okay, we have some friends as well here. Ada soalan? Ada soalan? Tiada? Oh, kalau tiada, if there's no questions, all right, right, yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, dari last year lagi yang Dr. Arif asked me to share with the students, and I baru take this opportunity this year to share. Yeah, right. No, thank you. Okay. So I have request from from Madam Elizabeth, from Puan Elizabeth that thanks Mr. Rizwan. All right. All right. I have some requests from Puan Elizabeth that she need us to take some picture for a record. Yeah, so can we have all of us to open our camera and yeah, thanks everyone. Okay. Can we have everyone to open our camera so that Puan Elizabeth can take our picture? So this is a request from the academics, the postgrad section from kita punya ini, for them to have some report. Okay, can I have everyone to for postgrad sessions can yeah. So Puan Elizabeth, perhaps you can ready with your camera. Can I have everyone to open up you punya video for a while? Yeah, hi Riz, hi Winnie. Are you okay, Riz? Yes, yeah. Alright, so, baru dorang je buka. Madam Elizabeth said everyone is very shy to open their video. Okay. Alright, so yes, Milin is there. Alright, so everyone lagi buka kamera. Alright, so semua orang malu. Madam, apparently just the three of us, the four of us only here can ni yang lain malu. Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, Madam Elizabeth, are you done? All right, so Hambeto is there. All right. Yeah, everyone's there.
Thank you, Joe. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Reese. All right, done. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in today's workshop. And I hope we can have another session soon with other colleagues. And I hope all the best for your postgrad study. And I hope you guys enjoy the journey. Yeah, it's of course it's a lonely journey, but you will enjoy it. Okay, as you go to the every path, every corner, you will meet someone that can assist you with you punya journey. And we also here in FPEP, we invite kalau you have any about we anything that we kalau mana yang we can't, but we can assist, we can help from others to assist all of you. Right, thank you everyone. I hope to see everyone again. Okay, and thanks Hakim, Sayati is there, Kamari is there. Right, thank you everyone. Have a good day and stay safe wherever you are. Right, have a good day everyone. Goodbye.